Good evening, folks. Welcome to another edition of the Weekly Tangent here in beautiful Bellevue, Washington, where the world's about to end. We're getting ready for another snowdrop for Seattle and basically everything in the, I guess, the eastern or western part of Washington. I don't know.
We'll see.
Everything shuts down. It's three inches of snow, and that's what it takes. But actually, people did get like a foot.
Yeah, I got like 7 or 8 inches.
You got 7 or 8 inches.
My place.
I only got like 5 or 6, so it wasn't that bad. We talked about this on our other show yesterday, but It's always good to like rehash things over and over and over again.
The snow wasn't even the worst part. It was the day after and the ice. That was really where I got burned.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's nothing you can do when it just refreezes. We don't have equipment here like the rest of the world, like Cleveland or Minneapolis or Chicago, where you actually would get snow and be able to remove it and get to work the next morning.
Yeah, and I mean, even on the couple blocks that I live on, there's like the middle school, the elementary school, and the high school, and like even that they couldn't. It wasn't, you know.
Yeah.
And you would presume like the school district would have like these types of tools, but even they were kind of a little slow to the draw.
Yeah.
So
No, we don't need that. Nobody needs to go to school. By the way, that's Brooks. He's a co-host. I'm your other host, Greg. We're here from WildTangent talking about new games that we brought to the service. But, man, before we get into the games, Jesus, dude. Big weekend coming up. Division 2 beta.
Division 2 private beta started today.
Yep.
So
everybody's got it preloaded if they've got access to the beta, I'm sure. It starts at 9, right, tonight?
It started at, it was really weird.
It's available.
It's available now, as far as I could tell. It looked like our buddy got on at about 1 this afternoon.
Oh, okay.
Today.
That's not bad then.
But,
yeah, I was wondering if actually, I figured streamers, you know, some of the bigger influencer streamers, they have access to it, I'm sure. I saw some people coming back saying, hey, this is a totally different game. Like, actually, there's content there that is meaningful.
Yeah.
Not that the last one wasn't great, but the beta on the original Division, it was a little quirky.
Oh, it's that... Yeah, the first game, we played a lot anyways, but this is kind of... They took the last few years, because even though the first game kind of launched in I don't want to call it a rough state, but it was the first swing at a giant games as a service for them.
Yeah.
And then even though it was a little bit rough, they spent the last 2 years really beating the game into good shape, tweaking it, changing it, and they've taken everything they've learned from that, and now flag down, we're moving forward. Everybody come play this.
Right.
So
I'm hopeful, and thank you for the code.
Oh, sure.
Just so Ubisoft knows, somebody actually has like 10 accounts that he hooks up. So yeah, we're going to be on there probably this weekend, at least some of the time. There's also DMC 5.
Yeah, shoot. I mean, we might even get on tonight.
Yeah,
but
the demo for that also dropped.
Yeah, that is this is the sequel to, I guess at this point it would be to DMC 2/4, and this is after Capcom has taken the game back because the last DMC game was actually made by Ninja Theory,
right?
If I recall correctly.
Yeah. Those guys took it in a different direction and actually removed Dante from it altogether. Or no, Dante was a kid or younger. Is that how it was?
They did like a reimagining of the universe.
That's
where he looked. There were some accusations that he looked a little emo-ish.
Right.
I still didn't have a problem with the last game, but it was not as well received as some of Capcom's latest entries with RE7, RE2, Monster Hunter Worlds.
Yeah.
So this is kind of, DMC on their new RE engine. Looks good.
Well, they also, the fighting was still there. Like, the whole thing, the beat-em-up component and all the things that you enjoyed from the original DMCs were there. So, yeah, it was just a little bit... The story was a little strange, and I think anytime you try and take and re-envision how an existing franchise is, it's always going to catch people off guard if they don't really know.
Took place in this weird world, and they interjected, like... There was, like, politics in the game, and all this stuff that, in the past games, wasn't quite there. Right. And then this one, it looks like they've added a little more science fiction to the game. So his arm at this point is like this robotic arm that you...
Instead of the demon arm or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm looking forward to that. We've got plenty of games going on. Funny enough, like we were talking last week, I had a chance to play Anthem. And wasn't really as impressed with Anthem as I thought I would be, but I wasn't against it either. There were just some weird things that I think I have to get used to. Right, coming from other similar type games,
right?
Things like that. So,
what in particular?
Yeah, you said the one thing that I really threw a dislike to was where you would respawn, or you'd get knocked. You were basically dead, and you couldn't respawn, and nothing was going on. You're waiting for somebody to come heal you or repair you, is how they put it.
Right.
But then your team could be all the way across the map. And you're just stuck
a loading
there,
screen away.
Got killed or something. And you got to go through loading screens. Didn't care for that. I don't know how they're going to deal with that as they go forward. I would just allow people to respawn somewhere on the map and deal with it that way, and just get rid of the repair thing, or maybe you get a bonus if you repair somebody. I don't know. That would be a little bit better instead of having to just lay there for like 30 minutes or 30 seconds, a minute, or something like that. Like make it less than 10 and be out. And then the flying. You know, while it's an interesting thing, and it's a big map, and it's kind of, I think you pointed it out, very reminiscent to like Monster Hunter in the way the map looks and all that stuff. And, except now you can go straight up in the air, and you can be super high and maneuver around the world. It's the flying just didn't feel right to me, so I don't know if it's just getting used to it, because... You know, if you're playing Destiny, you've got the what are they called? The bikes, the speeders, the sparrows. Keeps you on the ground. You're hovering. You can jump, but really you're on the ground. You know, a lot of other games, they limit the amount of flying you can do to where it's not unlimited. So I think that it's some of that they've got to get to.
I do think we're going to see something really interesting this year with those games as a service, because right now, I think for probably the first time that I can recall, I think almost every major publishers got one, right?
Yeah. This time now they do.
You know, like Destiny's out there, Division's out there, Fallout's out there, Red Dead's out there. I mean, I could go on to a few others, but
for sure,
Anthem's here. So it's. I'll be really curious to see how all of these games try to compete for what I view it as a very similar player base.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and definitely, guys, let us know. You know which one you like. There's always ones that we don't check out, or there's something that we're missing, or if you like specifics of either Anthem or Division 2 or any of the latest ones, Fallout 76, as Brooks pointed out, or Red Dead. We'd love to hear it, love to know, so hit the comments up and let us know. Do you want to jump in and talk about some of the games? I think we should.
Yeah, what do you want to start with first tonight?
Let's do Batman. So, funny enough, we've been working with different partners, and one of them is Warner Brothers that just brought their content over to WildTangent. So we actually have a lot of the back catalog of Warner, and we're going to show a little bit off of it today, because basically they had a lot of content, and we're launching it all month long.
Yep.
And we're at the beginning of it now. So Batman Arkham Asylum is one of my favorite games from the past probably 5 years, 6 years, I guess it's been out there. Loved everything about Batman Arkham. I think they took it in the right direction. Rocksteady did an amazing job with the fighting mechanics.
Rocksteady did an amazing job on this game.
You can't really go wrong playing a Batman franchise, or taking the let's say this, you can't go wrong with taking that fighting mechanic and dropping it in other games, because we've seen this go into the Battle of Middle Earth, Shadows of War, Shadows of Mordor.
Yeah, I think
Mad Max did this.
I think they might have even trademarked this, and they call it like Free Flow.
Free Flow, or there is what's the other name that stylized fighting or something like that.
Sure, yeah.
Something to that effect, and it works phenomenal. And this was really the game that brought it to the market, right? It was the first one. And you can see an example here. If you've never played the Batman franchise, I'd definitely tell you to at least try one of them. This is the beginning. Obviously, they got better with new mechanics. So we've got Origins, we've got Arkham City, we've got Origins on the service, so we've got the Batman franchise. So any of the ones that you pick, they are all phenomenal games, but they obviously started to create and make unique adjustments and add newer and better features to each game as they went through iteration.
Yeah, I would say that Rocksteady was the first developer in many, many years that really nailed a Batman game. Because there had been some before, and they were
8-bit consoles and 16 bits.
They were rough. They were really rough. So this is, and I think one thing that's very telling of this game is, I'm not the biggest Batman fan, and that's not a slight against Batman at all. I don't read very many comics, or I'm not very familiar with the movies. I think this game is excellent. The combat's excellent. The puzzles are excellent. The detective work is excellent, and I think my favorite aspect of this game is actually probably the stealth.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
The stealthing is pretty awesome. It has a very, very cool, like, well, I don't know what Batman calls it, the Bat X-ray vision.
Right.
And you can kind of see characters, grapple points, essentially, like, not necessarily secret entrances or exits from the level, but you can see, like, areas where you can break in a grate or something of that nature. You'll see some of it in the gameplay here. So, yeah, there's some very cool components. You can definitely work your way through, like, I'll call it a level, and you can decide, like, which guys you're taking out, how you're going to get around this way. You're going to take the secret entrance or a secret exit here or there, a tunnel to get through the area or whatnot. It's got really, really good gameplay, great graphics. I mean, I was playing this to do this video. I played this the other night, and I was really shocked how well this is, like, lived in the past few years over all the other games that are out there.
I came to this game a little bit later. I didn't get it until I want to say I got it in a bundle where I got this and
I think a lot of people run into it that way. Yeah,
I got this in City for like $40 or something like that.
Yep.
And you would not know that it's not a new game. It looks great.
Yeah. So I mean, in comparison to other games out there that are beat 'em ups, essentially, you're going to find that this is probably one of the top of the line, and Warner Brothers still pushes it a lot. I've seen it through a lot of deals, through a lot of places.
Yeah, and then the Game of the Year edition includes all the extra challenge maps.
Yeah. So any of the DLC, essentially, that they had put out afterwards. I think it's 4 challenge maps, maybe?
Yep.
Something to that effect. And, I mean, you're looking at a game that's roughly...
Got to get close enough to Zaz.
10 years old.
This was like a release like March 2010 or something like that. Yeah,
something like that. So yeah, I mean, it looks phenomenal. And we're happy to have it on there. We were looking to bring on the Warner ones, and obviously we'll show other games as we go, the ones in the franchise as we go through the next couple weeks. But definitely, this is one that I've always appreciated, and I think that they did a good job right out of the gate with a brand new franchise, and then just expanded on it. A lot of people kind of go, I don't like Origins as well, but it's still a great game, and it still like builds off of what they were doing in City. The only difference with Origins is it was picked up by another developer, and worked through that, and then it went back to Arkham Knight. So they've done a really good job. Now, did you finish Arkham Asylum?
I'm at the end. I never finished this, no.
You never finished this one?
I got through, let's see, I don't want to say too much because you obviously encounter a bunch of iconic villains and whatnot, but I've taken down multiple bosses in this.
Yeah, and I mean, I think, Mark Hamill voices the Joker in this, and as you go through, he becomes more and more, the Joker's always eccentric, but he becomes more and more eccentric, and he just did an amazing job. So, thank you, Luke from Skywalkers, for lending your voice. And then, he uses that same voice to read some of the Donald Trump tweets as well, which is funny. So, having the Joker read that is always awesome. But, yeah, no, he did a great job voicing it. I mean, the sound in this game is on par. It's on point. It's the action's there. Being able to traverse through the different areas of Arkham Asylum. Now, it's a smaller area, but it's still big when you first play this game. And then you go to Arkham City, and now it's like a whole city kind of thing, which is pretty awesome. Here's the X-ray vision that they're showing right now. So this is kind of what Batman sees when he is looking through the X-ray.
It was a really excellent hook to put this in Arkham Asylum, because that immediately leads to some idea of either we're breaking out, or, you know, inside of Arkham Asylum there's bound to be many famous villains from the Batman universe.
And you do meet a lot of them.
Yeah,
right?
so it's not just the Joker that you deal with in here.
Yeah, no, you do see, like, at the beginning of the game, this is not really a giveaway, but you see Killer Croc right away come off the elevator, and you know, like, something's going to go down with that dude later. And it just, you know, they do a good job of, like, getting you excited to play through the whole thing.
Yeah.
Right, really bringing the fans through. Let's see, let's kind of jump to the next one. So, what was next on our... We were going to talk about F.E.A.R.
Yep.
I don't know if anybody has really played a lot of the F.E.A.R. franchise, because it is a little bit older in terms of, like, FPS shooters.
Yep.
Right? Story shooters. It really wasn't... There was a multiplayer component to it, but that was kind of I think it was a secondary component that Warner brought together to the table. Like, they built something that you had to go get, like, special codes.
You had to go download it, and I'm pretty sure the service is not even active at this point.
Yeah, I don't think it is anymore. But this probably falls more into the line of... So it was developed by or with Sierra. So if you remember Sierra was doing a lot early in 2000s, late 90s. They were trying to, you know, I guess they went into, like, early 2000s. And they were even part of, I believe, Valve's Half-Life, right? They were, like, the major publisher for that on disc. So, in terms of, like, it's got some feel of that, but it's a paranormal shooter. Like, it's more of a spooky shooter. It really wasn't showing so much of that in the first one, although it does have it. Alma is a character in this that you'll run into.
Right.
And she was in there. But really, it got, like, I think F.E.A.R. 2 really was the one that hit, like, that, like, let's scare the hell out of people when you're playing.
Yeah.
Like, get you really kind of creeped out by it and make it a little bit more than just a hallway kind of corridor type shooter.
Right.
In that sense. But F.E.A.R. in general, if you go through the franchise, by the third one, it starts to get a little crazy. Like, the story is going wild, and, you know, there's your brother's your sister. I don't know. There's a bunch of stuff in it.
Yeah, the first two games make sense to me.
Yeah.
And the F.E.A.R. 1, story of F.E.A.R., and then F.E.A.R. 2 is kind of more of a side quel where it kind of takes place
You take a look around.
right as the events of F.E.A.R. 1 are starting to take place.
Right.
And then 3 turns into this, like, there's, like, a cannibal, and, yeah, I'm...
Alma's having a baby.
Yeah.
It goes a little crazy. But, you know, for as old as it is, on the right machine, it runs extremely well. You know, it can really kick up, like, well over, like, 120 frames per second. On a decent machine. It doesn't even have to be a gaming PC anymore, really.
I've absolutely played both of these games. So.
And it does have, like, a lot of story, but it does have that feel of they were trying to do something new and unique. It's kind of like the time where, like, Halo was out there and Half-Life was out there, and, you know, they were trying to take and build a story around the shooter.
Yeah, and I want to say that I believe they call it reflex time in this game,
where everything slowed down. And,
right.
You know, it wasn't bullet time because what was it from Rockstar?
Max Payne or Matrix.
Right. They were the ones that coined the term on, like, bullet time.
Right.
From Matrix, really. But
right.
No, it was. It does have its own version of that, and you can kind of use it to at least take out groups of enemies. Right, it's not like you can grab the gun, and it's not like, you know, like a super hot design kind of thing where you shoot them, you grab a gun, and shoot. You've got plenty of guns. It really is just to kind of be more ad management kind of thing.
Right.
In that sense.
I consider this much more of like a first-person action shooter than I do compare it to some of the other games today, which are like, a lot of games these days are like, it's FPS with RPG mechanics and survival tacked onto it. You know, next thing you know, you go look at the genre page. on, be it our side or other platforms, and it's like genre /
Right.
and next thing you know, some of these games are 4 or 5 genres together. So
yeah, this was just the beginning of it. I'm actually dropping links into chat on both Twitch and YouTube for the games we're talking about. If you want to check them out, we do have not long play videos of these up, but they're like 30 minutes of the game, so you can kind of see what it looks like if you've never seen it. Obviously, there's many people that have played these games on YouTube and Twitter and Twitch and all of these things. You can find links for people to play it. But if you want to check out the games, we have them there. We always put discounts on for the members, things like that. So you can usually find some decent deals. Let's see. Let's jump to... So we've got another game that's spooky.
Yep.
But in a different way.
Yep.
Kind of in a Soma way. If you ever played Soma, this is Canarium. We're going to talk about, and that comes from Iceberg.
Partners over at Iceberg, yeah.
Iceberg's brought us some really cool stuff, and this one actually was on the top of Steam's, I want to say their top 10 list. Top 10 games that were selling for a while, about 9 months ago, a year ago. Well, when we were down at PAX.
Yeah, we bumped into them down.
Yeah, when we were down there, we saw our partners, and we were like, "Hey, cool, let's check out the game." We were talking about the game. They're like, "It's doing amazing," and it's really got some interesting components. It is very Soma-like. It's a walking simulator, horror type game, but it's not horror like Amnesia. It's more based on like H.P. Lovecraft.
Lovecraftian, for sure.
Lovecraftian kind of design. You're stuck at the Arctic base, and you've got, basically you wake up with this huge headache, this disco ball in the middle of the room, and you're trying to find out like where everybody went. But obviously there's the standard things like, hey, the power's out, I gotta go start the power up. Oh, now I've got to go try to make a phone, call for help because I'm trying to reach the boat that's off of the Arctic shelf, kind of out there, and trying to get in communication because we're sitting on Antarctica down there with nobody else around. So it's got these interesting story building components, and there's a lot of text in it, so it's very well done. There's a lot of cool things that happen. I don't really want to spoil too much, but you do start like seeing some things that are similar to time travel and stuff like that. You'll even see it in the little video we cut here for it. In terms of the gameplay.
One thing that I thought was cool with this was they encouraged you could play this more than once, right?
Yeah,
so there's multiple endings, there's multiple choices, so it's not just get the game, play the game, be done with the game.
Right.
There are things to find and discover, and as aggressive as you want to be in your scavenging, I guess we'll say.
And there's little tiny puzzles, like they're not puzzles as in like, here's a hidden object puzzle kind of thing.
Sure.
It's kind of like, how do you start the generator? Well, you got to figure out like where the damn thing is first. Go find the generator, then you figure out, and it's not really like pointing at this, going, do this thing right here. It's a little bit of try to figure it out on your own throughout the game, and go find this that helps with this piece. And it's an adventure game for sure.
Right.
It's definitely got components of that, but the suspenseful atmosphere is definitely something that continues to build. And from playing through the game personally, it really starts to build more and more as you get further into the game. It's not like right away you're just thinking, well, it's cold and there's nobody around. But then things start to happen and it just starts to build from that point.
All right.
Which is kind of the way you want it. It makes me, like I said, Soma's one of them. Where Soma, though, we talked about when we were talking off cam before the show, we were saying, like, well, Soma had a mechanic that was, you're kind of fighting, but you're not fighting. It's almost like a pacifist fighting.
There's an antagonist who's chasing you, but you don't get things like weapons or guns in the traditional sense, so your combat in Soma lends you to kind of hide, or Amnesia.
Exactly,
right?
Exactly. Yeah, you're kind of hiding, you're doing other things. This one, you're not really hiding. You're not on the... There's something going on. You see a character moving around. I think we may see it here. in a second, like pass in front of you, and you don't know who it is. So you're not really like running from that person, but you're not necessarily feeling good about like following or getting too close to them either.
Everything's just fine and dandy in
right,
here.
Right. But you're still trying to work your way through the area. I mean, that's really where it kind of felt like a walking simulator to me in that sense. And walking simulators can be really amazing because, they're telling a story in a different way than a graphic novel would tell a story.
Yeah.
So you're getting a different experience. And I know that some people don't like walking simulators, but to tell a story, they're doing an amazing job.
Some of the flack I've seen about them is it's really hands off from like I don't want to say a combat perspective, but it's very much about the story, the settings, the audio, the visuals, the graphics, and it's not like I lost because I didn't clip him in the head or right.
Yeah.
So
it's not built that way.
The central focus is absolutely the story.
Yeah. So this one's kind of right in line, and yeah,
it also looks great.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it runs very well. They support 4K. I think if you do check out the video on WildTangent on the game page, which I put in the chat, it is in 4K. So I recorded it in 4K. So you actually get full quality on it. So it looks really amazing. You can get a chance to see. I believe, if you look at that, if you look at like what they brought to the table, it's a really solid game that gives you a full experience. Now I don't tend to think that the game's any longer than like 6 or 7 hours.
Okay,
I believe that's what it was. And here's a piece of the kind of time travel, more of like the Lovecraft's. It starts to get into that, like this area, you kind of start to feel it.
All right.
So it doesn't go too far. I didn't want to spoil too much of it, but yeah, this is kind of after you've made the leap into the other world or whatever you're doing.
I like how it looks, and I like the darkness to it. That's one.
It's super dark.
That's one thing that in many of the other walking simulators that I've played, where they're either like Soma or Amnesia, they're also very dark, or you do the flip side where you've got like a Witness or a Firewatch where it is so bright, right?
Yeah.
And so I prefer the style of this game. Not that I have a problem with the other games, but I do like the environment that it puts you in as well.
Yeah, it does give you a good sense of what they're trying to express in terms of the...
There's some fear to be had here.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see. So that was not a Warner Brothers game. That was a Iceberg interactive game. But the next one we're going to talk about, and everybody that I've known, and maybe that's a very small subset of like everybody in the world, but most of the people that I know and I've talked to love the Batman, or the Lego franchise, especially with Batman. And Warner having the access to DC Comics, they basically let out Batman for Traveler's Tales to be able to go in and use and build on their great stuff that they were doing with the Lego franchise.
Yeah, they had a unique opportunity here to be like, hey, we're now, working with the guys that have got Harry Potter, or the guys that have got Star Wars, right?
For sure.
So it's many of these Lego games are borrowed from a license very well and made a good, fun game to play. I've always enjoyed playing them co-op.
Yeah, my son and my son's now 15, but back in the day when he started
when this came out,
he was like 6, 7, 8, 9. That's all we ever played were the Lego. We own every Lego franchise.
Sure.
Probably up until the most recent like Super Marvel ones or whatever. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of where he was growing out of it. But we played these co-op every night probably for a year or more. He really enjoyed them. So I just dropped the link in for this one, Lego Batman. Again, this is, this was the first of many to come. So we kind of wanted to start and talk about a little bit of the franchise when it first kicked off. But at this time, they had done Star Wars, I believe. Mm-hmm. They had, I think, done the Indiana Jones stuff. At least the first three movies.
I think so.
And then they were on to, like let's bring some comic book heroes in. So it was like Batman, and then they hadn't even gotten to the Marvel. Which, how many companies do you know that work with both of the major comic book publishers, right? Like DC and Marvel at the same time,
right?
That's kind of a crazy thing that Lego had to kind of pull on their games for people. Everybody wanted to get a Lego game going. There was Lego Jurassic Park. There's Lego Lord of the Rings, Lego Hobbit.
I mean, there were the movies that they came from, and then there was the Lego version of the game, and then they even got to a point where there was movies about the Lego universe in which they, so it's just...
Yeah, we also have another one that we picked up, funny you mentioned it, is the Lego movie, Lego the movie, the video game.
That hurts my head to think about.
But we have that one as well, which is kind of funny, because that one has Batman in it too.
Right.
But he's like this really like slapstick, not slapstick character, but he's like this kind of like really not like main. He's not the main focus of the movie, but he also is one of the things that sells it.
It's a very big, like, the movie's a giant ensemble of characters, right?
Yeah. So then there was, what was the other thing that they did? They kind of went down the road and they made their own like Lego City Undercover for like the Wii U. I think it was.
Oh gosh, that was a bit ago.
Yeah, that was like the first. They were bringing their own franchises into it. It was like, okay, we've licensed enough.
Right.
Let's try and do something. And I think it was Lego City Undercover.
Okay.
Where you played with like the Wii U tablet and you could do special things. And then I think they even jumped that one over to PC, if I'm not mistaken. So either PC or one of the consoles, like Sony PlayStation. It was just one of those things where it's, they found their own success, kind of built onto it, but they still, licensed tons of things and were bringing some great characters. I'm surprised we never saw like a Lego Walking Dead. Right? That would have been like the next thing, I think, if they were still really hot on these. I don't even know if they do them anymore.
I don't think they do. Yeah. I think there was a point in this where, before these games were wildly popular, small side story, Lego wasn't exactly in the best shape. Right.
They were a little bit like, it's a tough market to be in the kids' world. Toys. Yeah, that's true.
So this was kind of a combination of, they did those Lego stores were becoming popular, the Lego games were becoming popular, the movies were popular. So this was this time when these were all coming out.
Yep.
I think they've slowed down a little bit on them, but...
Yeah, they definitely... I want to say, like, there's... Did they do... No, they didn't do Lego Game of Thrones. I'm now starting to confuse it with, like, Telltale's, who was doing, like, the same thing, like, license everything under the sun and, like, get something out there with the same engine. But I don't think that there's really a Lego game plan for the near future.
The last one that came out...
DC Villains, maybe, was the last one.
The last one that came out had to have been either Worlds... there was a Lego Worlds game.
That was the MMO.
That I have not played, yeah.
I think it was Lego DC Villain. We're cheating right now. We're actually looking on Steam, just so you know. But yeah, I think like Lego DC Villains. I do remember that at E3 was being talked about, and they were taking and trying to push that. That's probably because DC's doing all their movies, trying to get that built up. But they did Disney stuff, like The Incredibles. They've done what's the other one that I was talking about, Pirates of the Caribbean, which is a very tough game to find.
That's right.
Like Pirates of the Caribbean is a tougher one to get a hold of if you're trying to find a physical version of it. I do some collecting, and I'm a big fan of the PS3, and that one was a tougher one to come across. Now you can get the digital version, obviously they're there, but try to find a
physical
one's a little bit harder. You don't see them too often. They're not like the ones that are hundreds of dollars, but it's still tough to find it. It's not necessarily readily available. So yeah, this the Lego franchise, you'll probably see more than just the 4 that we have of now. We're getting an initial batch, and then obviously the faster things go, the more games come in.
Yeah,
the more rapidly we put them up.
All the Warner Brothers games we've talked about today, they're all front page, available live right now,
easily to find. So let's we're getting to about halfway, a little bit over halfway through the middle of the show. We wanted to show one more game that came to us from Curve Digital, which is kind of a neat game. I was always a fan. Client Entertainment did a game called Don't Starve.
Right.
And I remember seeing this. This is probably 2013, 2012, something like that, at PAX when they were first showing it, and they're like, sign up for the beta and all this stuff. So I did, and I really enjoyed it. And a good friend of mine, Sarah, she enjoyed it too. So we were playing like the Don't Starve Together, where they did co-op and all these things. And funny enough, there was this new game that when you and I were talking about it, we saw it come across, and it came from a partner of ours, and it was Curve Digital, and we were like, wow, it looks familiar.
Yeah.
Right? So it's got this kind of like, I don't know, what did I say? It's like a puppet style, like artwork design to it. Let's throw it up here. It's called Smoke and Sacrifice. And the reason why it looks so similar to Don't Starve is the character design. While this is a little bit more like realistic, stylistic, realistic style, and Don't Starve is a little bit more cartoony, the characters move similar in their body movements, and it's done in this almost like 2.5D. It's 2D on like a 3D background kind of thing, or hand-drawn, and they're very similar. But when you start playing this game, you kind of think, okay, I know what this is. This is a survival game. It's exactly how it's going to play. Because you can look at stuff and you can see like, oh, it's a crop, so eventually I'll be able to pick that. But it does this really unique intro, which kind of gets a little dark.
Right.
Right? This mom, she doesn't even look old enough to be a mom, really. They live in this world, and you can see right there she's in the snow, but the snow is all around. Like, the whole world's cold. It's almost like Snowpiercer in a way, kind of thing. But these Tree of Light keep them warm.
The surrounding area?
It's the surrounding area.
All
so
right.
if you go too far out, it gets cold. So they can't really go that far. And she goes up, and basically they're saying, go get your baby, and your baby's sitting at the house kind of crying. And you kind of get a weird sense of like, okay, you're getting your baby for something odd. You're either thinking like, okay, baptize or something like that. Well, this is where kind of the sacrifice comes in.
Okay.
Right? So it goes right for the throat right away. Like, this is the intro to the game. You haven't even had the title drop at this point, kind of thing. It's a very interesting beginning to a game like this. So I think now we've got him, and essentially they're like, go take the baby to the temple.
Okay.
And you're like, okay.
Time for a nap.
You can tell she's like sad about this.
Time for a nap.
Yeah, Leo's not really happy. Yeah, exactly. A permanent nap. It gets a little weird. So here, now that all happened 7 years ago. There's trouble in paradise. She had found like there was somebody had said something. She's like, it sounded like he was alive. So she knows that potentially Leo, her son, is alive. 7 years later, though. This is kind of a...
All right.
It is like, kind of a different intro to a game. I'm going to throw the link in the chat.
So is this punishing to the effect of if you die, does your game start over? Or is it...
No.
It's
not a permadeath mechanic, but you do have progress that you would lose, obviously, in the game. But it is based upon crafting items and moving things forward by... like Subnautica or something like that, where you get more things to craft, which allows you to move further in the game, which allows you to go to the next thing, and so forth. So she's dealing with this as well. But the world you are dropped into, and again, the graphics and kind of the overall look and feel of the game is very similar to Don't Starve. So that, I was questioning at this point, is the game even like Don't Starve? But right here, she sends herself, she uses this magic pendant this traveling tramp gave her, and now she's in this new world.
All right.
Right? She's underground, is how she's explaining it. And she meets these totally different people, and there's like this fog that comes rolling in, and the fog, you have to have a mask, you have to have these lightning bugs, so obviously you gotta go craft an item that makes the stick, and then you go get the other thing off of this thing that allows you to make the net, and then you can capture these lightning bugs, which then keep the fog away, and you put it in this lantern. So you're crafting all these things, and that's how the game's moving forward, which is very similar, again, to Don't Starve. So yeah, you get the feeling right away, like when you get down here, you're in a survival.
It's interesting that it starts off more as a story adventure game, and then promptly drops you into survival, and
right, it hits the switch and like you're onto something new. So here she's got to gather, like, you've built the net, you've got the items to build the net. You build the net now, and now you've got to go capture one of the lightning bugs, and then you're going to put in a little lantern that's on the ground, and then you start the game from there. So don't want to ruin anything more for anybody that wants to play it. I mean, the intro, I wouldn't put it up there at the level of what would I put it close to on an intro scale?
Are we thinking of weirdness? Are we thinking of how dark it is?
How dark it is. I guess...
I'm not even sure what I would compare this to.
I guess on PS3, PS4, there's... which one am I thinking of? Joel and... what's his daughter's name?
Well, Joel and Ellie in Last of Us.
Ellie's not the daughter, but
right.
Where Joel in Last of Us is kind of at the beginning, and he automatically, I don't want to ruin that either.
You look at the front of the box, and you're like,
"This is not right.
This character's not in that
so
scene."
It's kind of like one of those. I don't know if it's exactly that like level, but it's kind of at that level, and that might have been. I want to imagine that was inspiration that they used off of it. Like, okay, let's start it with something unique, right? Instead of like just standard fare survival game. Here you go. You fell off a boat. Now you're in the island or whatever. That's. I mean, don't starve. I'm not knocking on them. On
not at all.
Either.
Not at all.
They had their own story that they added in. Now, I played it early in beta, so obviously there wasn't really that much. But like later on, they added in this whole like story world kind of thing and moved forward. But this, they definitely did. They took inspiration, I would have to imagine, off of some other games that have done this.
Certainly. Yeah.
So let's call it good on Smoke and Sanctuary, and let's do a little Mortal Kombat.
Sure, we can do that.
And we brought in from our from the collection that I've got. We're going to move some stuff around here because we brought in our own fight sticks for Mortal Kombat. And we're going to use those because this is the PC version. So great. So actually, an amazing feature is you can use the PS3 fight stick for Mortal Kombat. So we've got two. So we're going to use these. Let's go ahead and throw that together. It gets a little messy because we don't have a lot of space here, but let's get us over to the game. Where did our mouse go? It starts the game mouse. Oh, there it is. It was almost going to fall off.
Or knock your coffee over again.
Or knock the coffee, yeah. That was the one. That's the culprit.
Better watch out. Aggressive mouse.
Yep. When mice start going after coffee, you know you're in trouble. So let's fire this up.
Yeah, this is a really interesting game. So this comes... this was out of NetherRealm Studio, which is kind of an interesting story. So for any old school Mortal Kombat fans, it was always... Mortal Kombat was run by Ed Boon, Midway.
Yeah.
And obviously, Midway's no longer with us, and what had kind of transpired was Warner Brothers had the opportunity to come in, and they bought a bunch of different stuff from Midway, and they ended up, unfortunately, kind of closing some of the studios and then retaining the IP or the license for themselves. But they ended up not closing Midway Chicago, which eventually became NetherRealm, still run by the Ed Boon, and
he still had full ownership and control over.
And since then, this game has done extremely well.
Yeah. They've done phenomenal with it.
I think we're just around the corner from 11. Aren't we?
Yeah, funny enough, it's going to be, I think, nearing summer, right? Is that the thing? Let's see. Let's verify when that is, because we're hoping to get that day one release on it. Actually, April 23rd, so before summer.
Okay, yeah.
So that'll be on. That's coming on the heels, actually, of a few years later of Mortal Kombat 10 or X, whatever you want to call it, where they actually did a huge overhaul.
Yeah, and this is also you might look at this and be like, this looks a lot like Injustice and Injustice 2 because it does. Yep. Because the same team that makes the new Mortal Kombat games makes the DC Universe 5.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And these have been fantastic games. there's always a Mortal Kombat game or an Injustice game at, you know, EVO, the world's biggest fighting game tournament every year. So
I'm a big fan of the well, I like the Mortal Kombat, like 10. 10 was my favorite Mortal Kombat. This one's great. This one's really good. But like once they brought 10 out, it had mobile integration. So although some people are kind of like iffy on like, is mobile worth it? Sure. Playing the mobile app on Mortal Kombat 10 is pretty worth the effort.
There was more to it than like mashing.
Yeah, not like Capcom's Marvel vs. Capcom on the Vita.
You could bring things into the game. There was weeklies and dailies and...
Yeah, and then, you know, they do this, like you were saying, with what was the just lost it. The superhero version. Injustice. Yeah. They have the same thing. They have 2 apps for that as well, because they had 2 different versions. So I'm hoping that Mortal Kombat 11 keeps that, you know, that up, and they actually have like a mobile app and everything too. Because it was well worth it.
I don't know this to be certain, but considering many games these days, and these are not even games that are games as a service, a lot of games are really putting in daily mechanics and weekly mechanics just to really drive a reason to, hey, maybe you don't play 5 hours every Saturday or 3 hours every Saturday. Maybe you play 15, 20, 30 minutes every night.
Yeah.
You know, so you can always unlock, and with the Complete Edition, you get all 33 characters.
I think 33.
33. Yep. It got a little strange because I know that, like, on PlayStation, you got Kratos, and on PC, I think you might have gotten Freddy Krueger along those lines.
Yeah, I think on PC you do get that one.
And then outside of that...
We have story mode, we've got regular, just start a fight, you've got story mode, you've got challenge tower, they've kept that in, that's always a good fun one. There was, online on this was pretty solid. I have it on PS3 as well. That's where these controllers came from, was the PS3 version, and had, you know, an amazing time playing it when I was doing that. Online worked flawlessly. Most of the online experiences of these do work really well. Then you've got extras. I think they have the crypt in this one, where you can kind of roll through, and you unlock as you move through the I call it a graveyard, but it's a crypt.
Okay.
And you can unlock like all the special features and all the different character variations and stage variations and things like that. You know, you get points. Like here, I don't even know if we got some points, but we can open this one, and that's going to give you something new to interact with. I'm not sure which combat code. So this is one of the headless combat, where you can have like no heads on any character.
Got it.
Right?
Okay.
So it's just fun stuff. But there are like other things like stage unlocks and character variations.
Yeah, I mean, there's even a complete story in this. This is functionally,
for sure. Let's go check that out.
This is functionally basically a retelling of Mortal Kombat 1, Mortal Kombat 2, and Mortal Kombat 3.
Yeah, that's the whole group.
I know some people might be like, Mortal Kombat as a story or whatnot, but yes, in fact it does.
Right.
I grew up playing Mortal Kombat more as we had it on SNES. I think I had Mortal Kombat 2 and 3, and then we also had a local arcade down in Kirkland called Quarters where we would play as.
Yeah.
And we played to play. We didn't play because I had no idea. The story, that they can present this now far better than they could support the story back when it was on SNES and you didn't have videos and audio and cutscenes. And now there's a true...
Howard Lincoln saying how good their version was because they censored the blood.
Right.
Yeah, you know, that kind of thing. Dude, that was... you know, one of the things, if you ever get a chance to look into, and I would tell this to anybody watching, go check out the mid-90s, like early 90s Senate hearings on censorship for video games. Mortal Kombat played, you know, as you'd figure.
Oh my gosh.
And you probably heard like a very big like deal with that between like Sega and Nintendo sitting there, and then the rating organization that they were trying to build, and Senator Joe Lieberman up there, you know, talking about the Justifier gun and everything, of how, you know, in Night Trap.
Because nothing bad had ever happened before Mortal Kombat, so correctly, this was the cause of all the world's problems.
If we can find it, we'll link it into the show notes of just some of people's takes on that, because it's well worth watching the Mortal Kombat trials and tribulations they've caused for, many.
I say this humorously, but watching a group of people that didn't understand how games were made or how they were played talk about the problems they were causing, it's something of comedy. You would
never sit there and imagine it today. There's so many other problems that the world deals with.
Right.
That would be the last thing. So was that Shao-Kahn? No. What was that? Is that Raiden?
So
I didn't see who it was when they was taking him on.
Not Kentaro.
No.
Kentaro's that Minotaur dude that was his second. I'm trying to...
It almost looks like he's wearing like Scorpion's armor, but it's all black and then he's got a cape on. I want to say it's Raiden. It's like some new outfit or something. He's not doing too well.
It's the villain from 3.
Okay.
I know for sure his second in command is Kentaro. This is not Shao Kahn.
Shao Kahn's the big guy, right?
I'm gonna cheat and look.
Back together. It's been a while. I mean, it's funny, you forget how many games that you have played over your life. And I hadn't played Mortal Kombat for quite some time until we saw it come through and we're like, oh, okay, let's get this one live and get ready for it.
Okay, so no, it was Shao Kahn because it would have been then in the first game, because the first game was Shang Tsung and Goro, the four-armed guy at the end of 1, and then...
No, that was Raiden. Yeah. There he is. That's him. Oh, he had the vision. I know his eyes are the ones that are all white.
Okay. But yeah, Shao Kahn confirmed.
Shao
Kahn confirmed.
There he goes. Now he's doing... Liu Kang's got the medal. It's all broken. Or medallion. I guess it's not a medal. Alright, let's see if we can skip through at least to the point. Oh, Johnny and Sonya.
One thing that I have liked each iteration of this game, rather than just kind of taking the assets from the previous...
Get to watch it.
Rather than taking the assets from the previous Mortal Kombat games, each Mortal Kombat game does a true re-envisioning of each character.
Yes.
So it's new look, new outfits. I don't want to say new attitude, because attitude was like a 90s thing that people used to say, but it's...
You mean the 90s too?
It's not just last year's Mortal Kombat with a couple new characters. It is a new entry each time. New characters, new finishers, new fatalities, brutalities.
Yeah, a lot of the control inputs are the same, but they definitely go in and they polish everything up for each new game. Man, somebody's got a big chin. He's got the thing sticking out there. He's going to get knocked off. It must have just been the angle they were drawing. It had her at, I don't know. Or maybe they all
I think everybody's got
this
this aggressive jawline, too.
Yeah, exactly. It kind of goes across the fighters. Got to have that. Something to aim for. It's almost like we're looking at China from WWF or E. Jawline. Here he goes. Okay, can we move forward? Yeah, skip. Johnny Cage is... Okay, what's coming up here? Because Johnny Cage is the first to battle. I think I'm the one that's got the first control. Oh, Reptile?
Yeah, it's really fun to see the way that they modernized all these characters.
Yes.
Because in the first couple Mortal Kombats, Sub-Zero and Scorpion looked the same, except one was blue and one was yellow. And then you got Reptile, and instead of being blue or yellow, Reptile was green. Right? And then instead of, when they introduced Rain in Ultimate 3, Rain was purple, and Noob was black, and it was the same.
The cyber. What was it? The cyber ninjas.
Yeah, so it's really fun the way that now they were able to go through and really add. You can tell Scorpion is from the underworld. You can tell Reptile is of some reptilian nature.
Right.
Sub-Zero looks like he is from some iced out Johnny Cage, Hollywood movie star.
Oh yeah,
right.
Well, Johnny Cage became like in 10. I don't know if you've seen him in 10. He became like he was military Johnny Cage. Like,
okay.
I mean, he's still kind of like. I don't know. He's an aged Johnny Cage. Let's say that.
Is this like a Steven Seagal situation, or
more like Van Damme is what I would.
Van Damme, okay, a little more legitimate.
Yeah, I would kind of say he's more like that. What was some of his moves? It's been a while since I played Johnny Cage. Let's see. There we go. Yep. He was throwing green things at me. I figured I'd throw it in. It'd be horrible to lose to the first guy. And know that you're sucking wind then.
Timer's in your favor.
There we go. But you also, in this one, so being that... Ooh, a little aggressive with the spit. Being that they had changed it, they also added in the bars at the bottom, which are your breaker, your... remember the last one, but they're basically special moves, and we were trying to figure out how to do it on here, and basically we found that that's the best way, is to kind of
there you go,
hit all the buttons at once.
That's how they do. That's how the pros do it, right?
Right. That's the pro way.
So if anybody asked,
see, he pulled one on me. I couldn't do it on him.
They're supposed to mirror the EX moves.
Yeah,
from Street Fighter.
They're essentially like the ultra violent. They do about 25% damage, I think it is, or 20, and they're just something cool to kind of pull off. Now the breakers really help because if somebody's trying to do a full move on you, or basically locking you down where you're getting put into a combo,
right? You
can get out of it if you've got enough, and I think it takes to the second level to be able to do the breaker. It definitely helps. Did I get him? It was like a Brady toss.
That, ladies and gentlemen, skill and determination.
There we go. That's all it was.
Oh yeah, I'm so.
All right. Let's see. Oh, we're still in the story mode. I forgot that we were doing that part. Uh-oh, did we lose our... We've got something spinning. Are we still live? Yeah, we're still live. YouTube's doing something funny. Sorry, folks. If you're watching on YouTube, it's doing something odd. On our end, it's loading.
I wonder if that's our office's network.
We do get that every once in a while,
yeah.
But it's running fine to Twitch. So, okay, I don't know, I just had to refresh it. It looks like it's still going. Let's do another round with Baraka, and then kind of check out some other parts. Oh, dude. I can't hit any combos with Cage enough. With Scorpion, I'll do a little bit better.
What always trips me up in this game is I came from playing many Super Turbo, Third Strike, Sequence 2. I didn't play as much Marvel vs. Capcom or Marvel vs. Capcom 2 or 3. But this game, you don't hold backwards to block. You hold a button to block.
You have to block with the button.
Which is a little unique if you come from playing Street Fighter, where normally you just hold the reverse direction of which you're getting hit.
Yeah.
So it does take a minute to get adjusted. I was telling Greg earlier before the cast, actually, early on when I was 18, I think. I worked over at Nintendo as a contract QA tester, and they actually had next to each other in our smoking room, which was an indoor smoking room. Not only was it an indoor smoking room, it had an indoor cigarette machine.
Oh, wow, funny.
And next to that, so you had the trifecta. You had a Mortal Kombat 2 machine, a smoke room, and a cigarette machine. It was, yeah.
They were looking to...
We got there and we wondered how this was still a thing. So...
Well, funny, I mean, a lot of places were still fine with it. I mean, Seattle, you could still smoke in probably at that point. I think that ended in 2003 or 5. Maybe it was 5. Oh, oof. I'll get him on this right here. Oh no, that's right, you get full health back. Yeah, no, that's weird though, the Nintendo kind of... Was it Nintendo or was it Amaze? You were saying?
No, this was Nintendo America. This was the old school headquarters.
Right. It's kind of funny that they were cool with it, but I mean I guess at that time the Japanese culture kind of didn't give two cares.
We just thought it was really interesting, right? So, and they had all sorts of fun arcade games. Right next day was Mortal Kombat 2 and Killer Instinct 1.
Oh yeah.
So.
Well, I'm sure they had, like, Cruising USA and some of the other ones there.
Oh gosh, I'd have to remember. We had a racing game there. They had a couple kiosks where there were people that played, like, Tournament, Tetris Attack.
I'm going to pull us out of this. I'm going to let you, why don't you run with some of the, do you want to do the tower real fast with some character?
Did you want to do some multiplayer?
Yeah, we'll jump on that here at the end. I've got to get our one screens down, so why don't you kind of help us out there. I'm going to see if it's going to let me jump out of this. I don't know if I can interrupt it or not. I might be able to interrupt it here.
I'm not going to kill anyone.
No? And I just skip this forward. They've got some weird, on PC there are some weird things where it's like interrupting the story mode is like almost a non.
Yeah, this we briefly discussed this before we got on.
I'm gonna try to.
I thought it was a combination. No. It's this. No.
Not that much skill.
Not that much skill. Yeah, no, we don't want that.
Come on.
Yeah, you cannot interrupt any of the cutscenes. And if you, as you see in this game, and then you go into Mortal Kombat 10, like it becomes more and more like story kind of driven.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They get into like stories pretty deep.
Oh, they explained the realms these characters are from, their motivations, their alliances. Yeah. That's what
we want to take control of yours. Let's see here. I'm just going to get our screen up so we can see it. There we go. We're not diligently touching the mouse most of the time. Our corporate rules take over and put our computers to sleep.
We're getting it worked on.
Yeah, hopefully within the next couple of weeks we'll get rid of that. So this is the tower mode. This is actually where you kind of just crank your way through.
We used to try to get to the top of the quarter.
Yeah.
That was our goal, get to the top of the quarter.
Yeah, that was basically everybody's goal. And they've had tower since like what, Mortal Kombat 2. Or was it even in 1? No, I think it was 2.
Oh, I think even 1 had tower in it.
Yeah. Okay. Been a long time. Funny enough, before we have access to all of them here, so I was trying to play the, Mortal Kombat Collection. The first one, which is like 1, 2, and 3. And we couldn't even get it to run because the Windows, it had Game for Windows Live.
Oh, jeez.
What a piece of garbage. And that thing just will not let any game really work correctly after they shut it down. So we couldn't even start it up. So we didn't even launch with that one. We don't have that one on the service. So I don't know if that'll ever get fixed. I know there's probably some workarounds. We were checking the community hubs, but be careful if you buy that one. That one doesn't run on Windows 10 or Windows 7 all that long. Or Windows 8 or Windows 10. But this one runs perfect. I was having no problems with playing this. And really, you know, being able to use these big controllers, Windows 10 just took it in. It was like, hey, this is a PS3 Mortal Kombat controller. You're good to go.
The one thing I do get caught up on a little bit is how because the buttons are still numbered like a PlayStation, so you have to kind of figure out for a second.
Yeah, and I guess, you know, that's not barely anybody's going to have to deal with that, but I guess what I could do is just kind of go get a label or just do a little thing for a bit. I use these mainly for the PS3 version.
Right, so it's not an issue at home.
Although, we were just talking, we fired up Mortal Kombat 10 on PC, and we were able to use it on there, so if 11's coming out, I'm probably going to break these out and do that, so I can use it more often. I'll probably end up getting it on probably PC and PS4, because you know, anybody else is going to get it. Usually everybody I play with online is on PS4, but I do have a decent amount of people I play with on Steam, or at least in Steam Friends. So
yeah, when we play multiplayer, sometimes the common denominator.
Yeah. Get it? Get it? Oh. You have to be touching.
There you go.
Oh, this is the secret one, I think. Yep.
This is the head rip you only get if you have the complete edition, which comes with the old school costumes, which unlock the old school fatalities.
Of course. There's plenty of stuff to go through in this game, because the complete edition just loaded it up.
Oh, there's characters to unlock, skins to unlock, moves, supers, right? And I mean, they even, I think they've even got the, there's like stage fatalities, there's babe-alities.
Yeah, they kept all of that in it, for sure.
Where there is smoke, there is fire.
There we go. Now you're up against what, smoke?
Yep.
Yeah, smoke. Well, there were so many of the same different, clan ninjas in these.
Right.
It really got confusing. Like, Reptile was one, Smoke was one, the Cyber Clan ninjas. Scorpion
Hermit, Rain, Noob.
Yeah. It really got to be like, okay, we get where you're going. It's a lot of ninjas.
I think they were better able to differentiate them a little bit later.
Sure.
Because kind of some of the older ones, that was really just a palette swap and maybe a move or two.
Yeah. Nice. Then they brought in, that was him. Yeah, the X-ray component that they added in. I think it was into. I think this was the first game that had X-ray, wasn't it?
I think so.
Yeah. That adds a whole nother depth when you really want to roast somebody out. But funny enough, like Mortal Kombat 10, when they added in everybody, it's like all their kids. So there's even way more characters, and they all have their own variations of that. And Sonya Blade and Johnny Cage have their daughter, which I forget her name, Pamela Cage or something like that. I don't know, but yeah, it just kind of keeps growing and growing and growing. I'm like I said, I am interested to see what they do with the level. Get those coins. The coins are what you can use to buy anything within the game in terms of unlocking the crypt. So very cool, extended play component where you can go and unlock many other things to keep you going on the game. Even when you get bored of doing any kind of online multiplayer or battles between friends and you're tired of the single player, there's always the other side of it, which is go unlock tons of stuff. But did you play a lot with controller? When you were playing this before? Or just ever, any time other than this?
We primarily, I'd probably say mix on this game.
Controller is how I played through number 10, and it wasn't too bad. It wasn't that bad. It was really, Here we go. There you go, nice. Down pat. Wasn't too interested in that eyeball. Alright, let's see if we can jump out of this now. We're going to do some multiplayer. We'll just go through and
Yeah.
Yep, I'll do next time. I think it's once the match starts, you can then hit start and be able to quit. Alright, let's see. I'm going to go... Well, we need to throw a two-player on versus... We could do team ladder or versus. I guess it's really...
We can do versus. That's cool.
Alright, let's
try that.
1-on-1. And then here's the full list of the characters. And then at the bottom, it opens up. So you get Kenshi, Rain, Freddy Krueger is the characters you were saying.
Right.
In this one. I've never really played too much. I think on PlayStation 3 it was God of War.
It's Kratos. Yeah.
I'm not sure who was the Xbox version. Off the top of my head, no, it wasn't like Master Chief or anybody like that.
It wasn't Master Chief, and then what was, because Soul Calibur did Spawn back in the day, so it wasn't Spawn.
Yeah, it wasn't Spawn. Boy, I don't remember who that was. That was a long time ago. If anybody knows, leave it in the comments. We'll check it out because I don't know who was the special character for the Xbox 360 version. I'm not even sure if it was just Xbox 360. They brought it. I don't know if they brought this to Xbox One. Seems like Xbox One has not done the same job as PlayStation has. PlayStation has brought a lot of their own games forward, especially through the PlayStation Store. I know that. I got that fire. That's where that breaker comes in. I can't do it, man. It doesn't work. Oh, just kind of knocked me over. I do not know why that doesn't work. What is that? See, I used to know that thing like the back of my hand, but oh, I get stuck with one foot. Good swing. Somebody would be playing that damn, who was it? Was it Smoke that would just disappear and like reappear like right away? I think it was. Got that one. Alright, let's see. Well, we both got you. There it is. Exactly. Alright, what is it?
I don't know his.
And now, it's back. I forget.
I had to write some notes down so I could even remember one for the other.
I think it was it's back, down, back. While you're touching, I forget. Let's see, you want to do new fighters?
Yeah, we do one more.
Alright, let's do that. You go. Yeah, I think it's down back. Hey, Dakota, how are you? Welcome.
How's it going?
We were just playing a little bit of Mortal Kombat Komplete. Let's see. God, I suck with everybody else. And I'm not really good with the other one. Who's over here? Why can't I go one over? Oh, I guess we can't select that guy down at the bottom. Boy, it's been a while. Hello. Sarah, what are you playing tonight? You guys still doing Resident Evil 2?
I saw her on that the other night.
Yeah, there's a lot of people playing that. I've watched so many videos. Because I haven't bought it yet. I've watched so many of like people doing speedruns already. Like there's one guy that I watch a good bit on there on YouTube. And he has already been able to do like the hour something speed run with Leon.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
They put some fun unlockables in it, I will say. I've been pleased.
Did you unlock anybody with yours? Like, wasn't there tofu?
So, right now, I'm at the part where I'm about to unlock Hunk in the game, the 4th survivor.
Oh, yeah.
Then, once you have Hunk, you can go get the chunk of tofu and play the knife only mode.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's... So I've seen him playing Tofu, and I saw him do the speed run on Hunk, which is only like 5 minutes.
It's quick once you know how to do it, yeah. But it's like a no ammo, no pickups. You have to play with what you're given, and that's kind of that.
Right. Screen stuff, but it's the cheapest one, I think. No, that might be the cheapest way to win. Just keep somebody in the corner.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
I'm trying to see what she's... Oh, there it is. Right now, working on your planner for next week. Ah, gotcha. Oh, yeah, you bought Flame in the Flood. Yeah, that's right, you told me that. Sarah picked that up last week after we played it.
Oh, cool.
She had enjoyed it. I like that game. It was fun. I wish we could have got time. I mean, that's the problem. You know, we talked about this yesterday on the other show. Like, when we're doing games, like, you'd think we get to play games. We do play a lot of games. We play a lot of games. But we play, like, little bits of every game when we're trying to publish, get things out the door. It's never like you get a chance to sit around and, like, play all you want.
I wish.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I wish that would be the case, too. Although, Sarah, did you end up getting the... Did you end up getting access to the beta for Division 2? I'm not sure if you would have signed up for it or not. There it is. Oh, come on. Nice. We actually, we'll probably spend some time, I think this weekend, a lot of people will be on Division 2.
Yeah,
they got access to the beta. You know.
I mean, you know, when we're at the office, it's a lot of, you know, getting stuff out, you know, occasional meeting, you know, talking to partners, you know, kind of corporate stuff. So a lot of our play, you know, as soon as we get off, I think we're all probably gonna jump on tonight when we get home.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, give it a try. Maybe Devil May Cry this weekend. If you haven't seen it, would you? She said no, she hasn't. You haven't pre-ordered anything? Yeah, I know. There was was it pre-order? Is that how you got it, or you just signed up?
If you pre-ordered, it was guaranteed,
gotcha.
And if you signed up, there was a chance.
There was a chance you'd get it. Okay. Yeah, you ended up getting, you and a couple other people ended up getting them.
Yeah.
I tried to sign up, didn't get it, but I haven't pre-ordered it yet. But I definitely know that could have picked that up.
Yeah. We're checking it out this weekend.
Yeah, for sure. Well, hopefully, Sarah, if we can find a code, we'll get you one. I don't know if.
Let me poke around on a couple people. We've been all trying to figure out who needed them or who didn't have them. So.
Yeah, because that one, it does look fun. Yeah. I mean, I was looking forward to it when we watched the E3.
Yeah.
You know, what was it, two E3s ago? Or was it the last? Well, I know last E3, but
it was a couple years ago, and they showed off when they were like, no more snow, no more New York, let's do wet weather in DC. So.
Yeah, big difference. You know, in terms of like changing it up. I'm wondering if there's going to be. You don't do betas; they anger your soul. I get you. I know. I mean, it can be frustrating, but they're fun to at least jump on. I don't take it seriously to play the beta. I just kind of get in there, check it out, see if it's going to, like, some things here or there.
There's been times when we've played betas and we've gone in and, you know, next thing you know, it's 50 hours into Division 1 beta or whatever. For sure. And then by the time the full game launches, you kind of do a little, maybe the next game we won't run into the ground before we start.
Right.
So that with this one, it was the same thing with Anthem. I did very light plays. With Anthem, I'll probably do a very light play of this, and I'll look forward to, you know, we've got a cool circle, so we've usually got 3 or 4 people on, you know, to play at least.
There's people playing a good bit on the weekends.
Yeah.
You know, at least if nobody can make time during the week, which that's never the case, but, you know, you're definitely able to get on the weekends and get people playing, for sure. I think that's probably going to cover it.
Yep.
This week we had a good time. I had fun. This is great. I love getting these things back out. Just for an excuse. That's why we picked.
I struggle with blocking. I'm sitting there and I'm holding back the whole time, and I'm just like, you gotta press the button to block.
Well, it's still 1v1.
It's like I'm up here, just like it doesn't immediately click with me. I've got to play.
Mortal Kombat has a different component to it than fighting, and definitely, I don't know if we can show this on the screen, but like the layout, you can even see is totally different than most.
It's not. Fighters. It's not 2 rows of 3.
Right.
Yeah.
It's definitely just kind of cross. You know, I forget what they used to call it. But
it's high punch, low punch, high kick, low kick, and block.
Yeah.
And then you've got the
crooked cross.
We didn't really show it off in this, but this game's also got stances.
Yeah, there's a way to switch with stances up here, or combinations too that you can do an open or closed stance, and then that changes kind of.
I've watched when people play this game at like the professional level, the tournament level, and people are just, it's bananas. Absolutely shames me at the game.
Yeah, I know. I'm the same way. Yes, we're always trying to find time to play games, Sarah. You're right. Let's see here. I am going to throw that back up. Actually, I don't know how our window got closed. That's weird. Let me jump back in. We're going to close down tonight. We're going to probably push some more games live, and then next Wednesday we'll be on our Facebook show, which is
Games Gone Wild next
Games
Wednesday.
Gone Wild. Yep.
Should be
we do that at lunch.
Yep.
9. It's actually 3 p.m. Eastern Time, noon here on the West Coast. And then next Thursday we'll be doing more. We're going to probably do. I don't know. I'm going back and forth. We've got a new game deploying that's coming to the service called Away. From our friends over at Plug-in Digital, and we're going to be doing that on maybe both shows. We're
certainly going to play it on one of them, if not both of them.
Yeah, it's a really cool game, and we think there's some interesting components to it.
Yep.
It's going to launch on the 13th, so either the 13th on the show on Facebook or the 14th on the show here. We'll be playing the game, so we can have it. And then we've got, tons of other ones that we've got to get visible. We want to, talk to you guys about and at least show some of the gameplay. And we've got Gauntlet coming down the road. I know we were talking about doing that. We did Overcooked yesterday with 4 people. We had Scott and Cameron.
That was great.
Which was really fun. Overcooked, great game. If you get a chance to play it, it's kind of like taking Diner Dash or Delicious Emily and making it a co-op 4-player game instead of like a single player.
It's got a little bit of chaos from Mario Party with some management
Mario
aspects,
Party,
and then it throws in the true mechanic. After I thought about it, the real skill of the game is communication.
For sure.
Because nothing in the game is challenging at all. The way you prepare meals is straightforward.
It's definitely not like making you think, how do you do this?
Right. And then you start having to communicate, and then the level starts shifting and twisting and changing, whether it's an
earthquakes happening,
or the boat tipped on the yacht, or whatever happened.
Yeah, it's a great couch co-op game if you can do that. It is a single player component, so it's very fun there too. But if you can do couch co-op with it, we had the 2 guys in here with us. It was really, really fun. Had a great time. So I'm going to drop how people can get a hold of us. Brooks, you're usually on LinkedIn, so folks, if you look in chat, you want to talk to Brooks, you want to drop him any hints of how to play Mortal Kombat at least better and get to my level, let him know. And then I'm not sure, it's not going through. It says, hey, edit that. I don't know why it's dropping out. You can reach him on LinkedIn. You can reach me on Twitter. Let me know what you want to see. We both work on the content side, as we've always said. So either one of us, we go out and get the games that people are looking for. We deal with the partners, so we love to find something new to go out and chase down. And then definitely, if you want to see any of these games, most games on our service, you get to play for 30 minutes free.
Yep.
If you go in and you find it, it should have like a download now, and you get a chance to play it 30 minutes. There are certain games that we do not have that on. That's mostly the Steam stuff. And we put up Steam videos of 30 minutes of gameplay.
Yep.
So you can kind of see it. Obviously you can go, again, as we said, to other influencers or other streamers, things like that, see it. But if you go to our site with the links here, you can just see 30 minutes. And that comes from what I do on my channel on YouTube. And if you want to check that out, go check it out over here. You can reach me on there as well. And let us know if there's anything interesting that you want to see or games you want to see that are played. We're happy to do that. Spend a lot of the evenings when we're sitting around talking on PSN chat. We're recording videos or playing games to be able to give you like more kind of insider view into what games look like that are on the service. So I think that's it. If you haven't already, do us a favor. Click the subscribe button on YouTube and the follow on Twitch, and then definitely let the notifications ring.
Yep.
So you can get word of when we go live. We actually put about 4 videos live a day on YouTube. We're getting ready to do the same thing on Twitch, and you will also find our live show notification when we go on Thursdays, which is always at 6 p.m. So it's easy, 6 p.m. West Coast. It's always easy to do that, but if you forget, or if you are just like me and don't know what time it is, you'll at least get the notification of we're on live.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to getting some people kind of sharing back with us, and I think we have a couple ideas for some different kind of videos we might be doing in the future as well.
Yeah, we're going to do a little bit more than just sit here and kind of do our talk show style. We're going to do some other stuff, long plays, things like that.
Yep.
It'll be interesting. We enjoy playing games, and that's what we do for a living. So, we do. I guess we play games for a living, but we also publish games for a living. We also do business for a living. So something in that effect. It's about games. So definitely join us some more. Come back and let us know what you like and what you don't like. We'd love to get the feedback. Until next week, everybody have a great weekend. We're going to try to survive the snowstorm.
Yep.
I've got my parka and we're building an igloo.
Yeah, I think our office is going to be pretty quiet tomorrow. So.
Yeah, we're all working probably from home in Seattle.
Yep.
That's how it goes. All right, guys. Guys and gals, thank you so much. Have a great evening, and we'll talk to you next week.
See you next week.
See ya.